guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 24 years old, and he's looking for both my help as well as you guys in a situation he has going on with his buddy. Turns out his friend has fallen into the classic trap of getting involved with a girl who's milking him for everything it's worth for his resources. And pretty much he is now looking for what I think he should do as a friend and what this friend ought to do in this situation, as well as you guys chiming in to help him out. Because this guy, he's been watching my stuff for a couple of years now, I think. He obviously knows what to do and what not to do, but he still, I think, wants to hear it from me, even though he probably knows what I'm going to say, as well as you guys. Because this guy fell into the classic trap of being into a girl way more than she is into him, doing all the resources, spending money on her, trying to take care of her, and of course, he's not getting back what he puts into it. And that'd be a good one here, like I said, guys, to that any of you guys in a situation like this have a friend like this, or to make sure you don't fall into the situation like his buddy to help you out in the future. So it starts off, he says, hello SSM. I'd like to start off by saying that I found your channel shortly after you first came onto YouTube. I watched both you and other channels and RP content in the last year or so. The content is great on both channels, and I plan to keep watching as long as I possibly can. Keep up the good work. Bro, thank you for your support, and especially since you were one of the early viewers when I started this in late February 2020, coming up on 3 years now. I have a bit of a situation with some backstory to share with you concerning my friend. I'm hoping you can give both me and my friend some advice on how to proceed. For anonymity's sake, I will be referring to my friend as Scott. To give you an idea of the current situation, I will do my best to recall the events leading up to where both Scott and myself find ourselves. I may miss some details here or there, but I can assure you they are not working in his favor. In all honesty, you'd be giving the smack in every other sentence if I did include everything. Apologies for spelling in advance. Well, there's going to be smacks anyway, so that's unavoidable. Both Scott and myself work for the same company in the manufacturing sector, making parts for the aerospace industry. And he also worked a side job milking cows on the weekends. I am 24 years old and Scott is 23. The money that I was making from this job allowed me to buy my first house in December 30th, 2020, after only being with the company for 3 years at this point. Bro, you bought a house when you were like 22? That is awesome. Congratulations. Very smart. Look at all the decades you're going to be able to build up equity in that house. Just make sure you keep an emergency fund when shit happens, and it will. Make improvements here and there. Learn how to do things yourself in terms of repairs. They're going to be great. And then take your extra money. Maybe one day you can buy another house and another one. Rent them out. Make sure it's cost effective. You're doing great. Says here about the house in December 30th, 2020. It was nice not having to worry about being at home and having to deal with my parents, even though I love them both dearly. In mid-February 2021, it rolled around and I convinced Scott to move in with me to save some money on rent as his finances were hurting at the time. He went from roughly $650 before utilities in a dated 2-bedroom apartment to a dated finished basement, kitchenette, living room, office, bathroom, etc. for $200 a month. Dude, $200 a month for all that, you're giving him one hell of a deal. Within a month of moving in, he decided to get on Tinder and start dating for mainly hookups, as I would later find out. If I remember correctly, he went through 3 or 4 girlfriends before meeting his current girlfriend in June of 2021. We will call her Sarah. So he got himself a Tinderella as a girlfriend. Tinderellas are not girlfriend material. Okay, I've said this before in other videos and I'll say it again. If you want to do hookups, okay, knock yourself out with Tinder. But be very careful. Again, always wear protection, always provide your own protection and dispose your protection, and do not believe for a second they're on birth control. But as for girlfriend material, no freaking way. And you'll see. He says here, I'd like to point out that both Scott and myself work a late shift and do not get off work until like 9 p.m. at night. Scott and Sarah were trying to find times to meet each other around their respective work schedules, mainly on the weekends. The very first thing that I noticed was Scott simultaneously driving to see her quite frequently and him starting to complain that she never came to the visits and she doesn't like to drive more than 20 minutes away from home to herself. Very good that you spotted that, because that's the first thing I spotted when I read that. If he's making all the effort to go to her, instead of her making effort to come to him half the time or close to half the time, there's a problem. It shows that he obviously is way more into her than her into him. You want a girl that is very enthusiastic to come see you. Otherwise, you're more in the relationship than her, and therefore that gives her all the fucking leverage. And that's where a lot of guys fall into problems. However, he met her on Tinder. I'm going to assume she's above average looks, and the P is blinding him. This changed in September 2021 when he decided to move into her one-bedroom apartment. Smack. How long has he been dating her? Not very long. He's going to move in with her. He's going to move into her turf, where she calls the shots. How many stories have I done? Well, this is a bad idea, right? And not to mention, there's no reason to move in with her when he's living with you dirt cheap. $200 a month for all that, and he's going to go and live with her. The only reason you're moving with a girl is if you've been with her for a long time. A long time, and it's the final test to see if you can stand being around each other if, indeed, you want to get married. Now, watch what happens to his financial situation when he moves in with his girlfriend. He says, I got lucky here, as Scott left me quite a few things that helped me save money, not having to purchase for myself. This is where everything starts to go sideways. Shortly after moving in with Sarah, he started to have noticeably less time to do his hobbies. Shocker. I tell you all the time, moving with your girlfriend, all of a sudden she's going to want to spend all the freaking time with you, and the guy will stop doing his hobbies, hanging out with his bros, all that. I can understand this to an extent, but not to this much of an extreme. The two other notable differences are he now drives 15 minutes longer to work, putting him at a 45-minute drive one way to work, and he started to help pay rent for her lease on the apartment. Well, if he's moving in with her, of course he should pay for something. I got no problem with that. But watch where some help turns into all the help. He says, the only plus side was that he traded his 2012 F-150 for a 2018 Ford Edge for a better fuel economy. The downside is that he went from a $12,000 car loan to roughly a $30,000 car loan. I'm assuming his income hasn't gone up. He's paying more to live with her, and his income hasn't gone up, and he's more than doubled his car loan. Not a good idea. This continued until Christmas 2021, when Sarah's mother unfortunately passed away, followed promptly by her quitting her job and becoming extremely depressed. Well, that sucks that her mom died, and anybody can be depressed, I get that. She can't go quitting her job, but then again, hey, he's there to pay all the bills. From this point on, Scott has picked up more of the bills, while his girlfriend either doesn't get a steady job or only gets a part-time babysitting jobs from her friends. He is now paying for almost all the bills. Smack. Rent, internet, utilities, etc., including giving her gas and food money from time to time. It should also be mentioned here that he opened his third credit card about 1 year's time. Translation, he's now opening up more cards to rack up debt on to make her happy to buy her shit. He can't afford all that stuff, so now he's racking up debt. This is the dumbest goddamn thing I've ever heard. Over what? A piece of ass? And you can't tell me she's that good looking. Come on, dude. It is not worth it. It's a chick. There are 8 billion people on the planet. Half of them are women. There are plenty of girls out there. You're going to spend all your money on this girl? I know you get it, bro, the dude who wrote this in, but he doesn't. But it's amazing how the P can just cloud the mind of all common sense and reason. And we use our emotions get us to do such things, and we use our logic to justify our actions. In mid-July this year, he finally finished his court case for various reasons that I won't disclose, as he's been on house arrest with a bracelet since then. He is still allowed to come to work, but nothing else. Dude, you have to elaborate here. We're all wondering why he has the bracelet on and all that in a house arrest, but okay, fine. Around this time, the weekend milking job that he was doing closed down in their operations, and he's no longer doing that. So now he has even less income coming in, but his expenses keep rising. He needs to tell her this ain't happening. He needs to break up with her because she's obviously using him. But if he was going to stay with her, it's like, you're getting a full-time job. I'm not taking care of everything here. The complaining is continued at work and on Discord, to the point where I might hear about it 2 or 3 times a week. Complaints include not having any free time, not seeing his girlfriend, who likes to take a lot of random trips all of a sudden to visit friends. Girlfriend spends lots of money on snacks, he gets stuck doing all the chores, etc. At one point, they were seriously considering buying a house together. What do you mean they? It's going to be his money. He says, see $150,000 worth of bad ideas. Sarah also wanted to upgrade her vehicle over the summer from a beater 2006 Jeep Grand Cherokee to a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Again, who's paying for that? Thankfully, both the house and her vehicle upgrade fell through, or else Scott would be both co-signing and paying for those on top of everything else. Well, you know what? Your bro has no reason to complain. You know why? Because he's a grown-ass man making a grown-ass man decisions, and these were his choices, so he's got no one to complain about. Okay? I'm assuming she didn't put a weapon to his head forcing him to pay for all these things and so forth. He did it because he has a weakness for her. Okay? And guys, I'm all about accountability. You make choices in life, and you make bad choices, you got to pay for them. He's making bad choices with her. And the best thing he can do now is realize she's using him, and he co-signs for a credit card with her, or a car, or whatever. If she can't make she doesn't make the payments, or skips town, he's on the hook for it. It's his credit on the line. Is it worth having it decimated amongst many other things because of her? For some chick? He said he had other girls he was dating on Tinder. You can't tell me he can't get other girls. So many guys have to learn the hard way until they finally see the light. And if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Anyway, here he says here, she has also brought up getting married again, and from the impression I get, it sounds like she really wants to get married, whether it's the right thing to do or not. Yeah, that way she can get more resources. I can tell that Scott knows something is off because he will say, I'm not ready for it, or she's not in the right place, and so on. I've reached the conclusion that she is blatantly taking advantage of him and his resources at this point, while he is just being an ignorant fool, aka nice guy, so he can get some when Sarah is around. I don't even offer him advice or comments anymore when he comes to talk to her about with me. How should he and I proceed going forward? I don't want to completely cut him off, as we still get along like brothers. He could use some advice from a guy who's knowledgeable in these matters and isn't either a close family member or friend. If you do decide to make the video, I would ask your viewers for some input as well. Oh, bro, you can guarantee that the audience here will share their 2 cents. If you want to hear more, please let me know, and I will keep you in the loop. I look forward to hear from you soon. Thanks again. Well, bro, I don't need to hear any more. You have laid it all out. Your friend needs to end it with this chick, okay? She is using him, okay? He was off to a good start, living at your place, spending $200 a month on things. He could have used that extra money to put away, to one day get his own house, okay, amongst many other things. But instead, he increased his expenses, paying for more for him and for her, and obviously less money coming in, unless he got a monster raise from the company you work for. For what? A piece of ass? She can't be that good looking. And even if she was Helen of Troy, the supposed, in mythology, the most beautiful woman ever, doesn't matter. Why put himself into financial jeopardy and decimate his credit over a chick? So your friend needs to break up with her. End of story. She's using him. End of freaking story. And I don't blame you for not wanting to talk about it anymore, because you're probably just sick and tired of, feel like you're talking to a wall. So if your friend is, if you share this to your buddy, tell your buddy here, you're watching, friend, end it, okay? We all make the mistake of getting with that chick that one time, and we get head over heels for her. We get hypnotized by her great ass and her big boobs and what she does in the sack. It ain't worth ruining your credit, losing all your money, amongst many other things, over her. She's using you, dude. End it. Walk away, move on. And I don't want to hear, you don't understand, it's too hard. No, I do understand. I'm 40, almost 45 fucking years old. I've been through plenty of relationships. I understand. As there are plenty of guys out there. But you need somebody that's older and wiser, been around the block more times than you can count, to tell you when you're fucking up. So, to the dude who wrote this in, I would tell him exactly what I'm telling him here. I'd show him this video. And I wish like hell that he sees this and listens. Because, bro, Girls are going to come and go, and I guarantee you this girl will leave you high and dry the second you stop being useful. And she wants to marry you, to the dude that he's writing about. She wants to marry you to lock in more resources. So it's best to just part ways and move on. And I would tell this guy now to, maybe he can go, if you guys are cool and you are open to this, maybe he can go back to living with you again if you want, and charge him a low rent so he can rebuild all the money he spent on her amongst those things. But there's still a chance to get out of this. But the second he marries her, if he does that, that's it. He's on the hook big time, and not just for the duration of the marriage. They get divorced, then she can get alimony amongst many other things. And if she gets pregnant, well, we don't even have to get into that one. So it's best, tell him all this, and that's it. And by the way, bro, to the guy that wrote this in, if you tell him all these things, which he needs to hear, as a good friend would, and you show him this video, and he still doesn't want to hear about it, at that point then I would say, you know what? I've said my piece. I've tried to help. I'm not talking about it anymore. I don't want to hear any more complaints. I don't want to hear anything about her. I've done my part, try to help you out. And that's that. And if he decides to pursue a relationship with her and things go to hell in a handbasket, which they will, that's on him. You tried to help, and you don't have to feel bad about it. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let this guy know what you think. Let the guy who wrote this in know what you think. Let the guy, his friend, who he's writing about, know what you think. And hopefully you can save another brother out there who currently has his head up his ass and is hypnotized by the girl's hot body. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.